Hello there and welcome to this very basic talk through of the equipment that Newcastle West Circuit has bought for doing the online services for the videoing. I'm just going to talk through some of the key stuff that we've got on this table here. This is going to be by no means a comprehensive. I'm not going to tell you everything you could possibly know about this stuff, but hopefully it will get you going. Here's the camera, okay, which can be handheld quite easily, or we can pop it on the tripod. I've got the adapter on the bottom of the camera at the moment for the tripod. So all you do, and you can see the tripod on your screen here, is you just flick this kind of platform flick it open and just pop the front of the camera in and it latches on like that. And then again you just grab that little handle, release it, lift it out from the back. So it's very easy to put the camera on and off the tripod. Okay. Alright, the camera itself, the battery pack is on the back of it here. Now this is a very big bulky pack that's on at the moment. This is a very high capacity battery. This was got as an extra battery. It's more than double the capacity of the standard Panasonic one. That's what's on there at the moment. That should more than last any filming you would do for a service, but you've got two batteries. There's the original Panasonic one as well, and they both charge on this charging dock that you just plug into the wall. They just flick on here, and the LED is on the charger is red to say it's charging. I think it goes amber when it's partially charged, and then green to tell you that the battery is fully charged. So there you go. So that's the two batteries. They latch on and off the camera very easily. There's a little latch underneath the camera which you just flick down to unlock the battery, and it just comes off like that. And then you can pop it on again like that. You just make sure the contacts are, whoops, just dropped it. Make sure the contacts are facing upwards for the camera, and then it just latches in like that, and that's your battery. Now normally when you open the camera screen like this, it comes on automatically. You'll see the screens come on there, okay? Oh, except it says no memory card in at the moment. We'll come to that. But opening the door normally turns the camera on. If you've left it on for quite a while and not done anything, it shuts itself down even with the screen open, as a battery saving measure. There is an on-off switch, a power switch inside the open door here, and you just press that. I can press that now to turn it off, and I can press it and it will turn it back on again. Okay, so that's the power switch in there. Another key thing inside this open door here, if you can see, there is a mic socket for an external mic. That's important. We will come on to that. Okay, so that's the camera and latching it onto the tripod, and then basically to start recording and stop recording by your thumb here, there is a button which you press, and except there's no card in, so I can't demonstrate, but it would show you on the screen here that it had started recording, and then you press it again to stop recording. Okay, there is a zoom on the top here which you can kind of use with your finger like that as you're filming, and which you can zoom in and out, but I have to be honest, I tend to do the zooming on the edit afterwards, particularly if you're only doing a very small amount of zooming in. It gives you, you've got more scope, more flexibility if you've actually filmed a shot slightly further out, but then you can choose to zoom in a bit on the final edit afterwards rather than doing it on the camera. Obviously if you zoom in on the camera, then that's only the footage you've got. You couldn't possibly zoom back out again with what you've got. So that's that. Okay, I'm going to shut that and it will turn off, and I'll put that down. So that's the batteries and the basics of the camera. So we've got, well, obviously the camera itself has a built-in microphone, which, you know, indoors is fine, but we do wrestle with wind and all sorts of external noises outside, people in competition with birdsong, and all that kind of thing. So we have got another key bit then. We've got two kinds of external microphone, tie clip microphone that we can flick on. Here's the infamous gerbil windshield on the little tie clip mic here. But so we've got wireless a wireless option. So the speaker has a transmitter which say will stick in their pocket or whatever, and this is the receiver which you would need to put on the camera. So if I just bring the tripod towards us here, what I'll do is I'll put the camera back on the tripod like that, okay, and then if I just turn that around, bring that a bit nearer like that, this receiver has got a little adapter already fitted to it, which allows you to actually slide that onto there as a handy place to hold the receiver for the microphone, and then of course I have to plug it in inside there, okay. Now the transmitter and the receiver both have an on-off switch slider on them, which you can see on the top here. So obviously you have to make sure you've switched on your transmitter for the microphone and the receiver as well. Now these have an indicator on them, and if all is well, and they seem to always pair on channel 12, it shows you the channel number that they're transmitting and receiving on. Another key setting, because I've experimented a little bit with how much sound signal the receiver pushes into the camera, and it's changed by, there's a little button on the side that's of the receiver that says vol for volume, okay, and if I just take it out of, I'll just take it off to show you, okay, the vol on the side here, and as I press that, when I press vol, you'll see that now it says 3, 4, 2, 1. Now then, I've found that 2 is the optimum setting. 1 is a little bit quiet, the sound into the camera, and 3 and 4 tends to slightly overdrive it and distort it. So level 2 for volume is, I think, the optimum, and it seems to stay set on whatever it was set last time it was switched on, so I'll always leave it set at 2, but it's probably worth checking that before you do lots of filming and find out that the sound is all distorted or not enough there. So so that's that one. Just put that back into there, okay. The camera seems to just employ an automatic recording level when you're using an external camera, indeed as the same as when you're using its internal camera, so there's no audio level to adjust there, okay. Also this wireless mic does have an adapter which would allow you to use this with a smartphone, to plug in as an input on a smartphone as well. So if you want to, you could do smartphone filming but use this wireless external mic. I haven't ever tried that yet, but I don't no reason to see why it wouldn't work. It adapts to the correct 4 ring or 4 pole connector that most smartphones would require. So that's that there. Memory cards for the camera, I'll just show you, let me just take all this off again, and do that. Okay, I'll just dismantle the camera off the tripod again, okay. The memory card slot for the camera is actually underneath. There's a little door, there's a little flap underneath there, and the memory card, which is one of these size cards, just latches in with the contacts facing towards the bulk of the body of the camera, so towards the front I suppose we would say, and you just click it in there and it latches in, and then you can shut the door and that's the memory card in, and then to release the memory card you just open the flap, press the memory card in, and it releases it back out again like that, okay. Now we've got this is a 64 gig card. There's also a 32 gigabyte card. This 64 one, I found my older PC won't read it, it's too new and too big, but the 32 gig card is seems to be more compatible with slightly older PCs and things. My newer laptop, which is just a couple of years old, reads this 64 gig card fine. So for compatibility, the 32 gigabyte card is perhaps the one to use. Still more than big enough for any filming we would do for a typical service. So the 32 gig card should still be fine for most of the time. There are downsides to using the wireless microphone. I mean, you know, it's not a broadcast quality system. They're about 5 times the price of this one. There is a little bit of hiss on the sound when you use the wireless one. If you're outside, to be honest, that hiss is, you know, probably neither here nor there. Although a bit that I did filming a couple of weeks ago, I ended up trying to put some noise reduction on the soundtrack afterwards to try and get rid of some of the hiss. So there is a bit of a disadvantage on the wireless. If it's possible and it's not going to be too awkward for you, say you're just sitting inside doing a talk but you still want to use the external microphone, we have got this wired one as well, which is the same plug into the camcorder, exactly the same. There's a little battery pack on the lead. You have to remember to switch it on, a little sliding switch for on and off to turn the mic on and off. And it's just a tie clip mic at this end, just the same as this one. But the quality of the sound off this one it's completely hiss free. So the sound is slightly better from this. So if it's possible to use the wired one, and it's not going to incumbent you too much, or be too much of an incumbent I should say, then the sound quality is slightly better from this one. But I appreciate that if you're out and about and wandering around, you're not wanting necessarily a long wire dangling from you to be plugged into the camera, so you just have to make that choice. The tripod is very simple to use. It's a very lightweight one actually, but it's got a couple of leg extensions that you can flip out and bring out depending on how high you want the tripod. It's got this windy wheel which allows you to wind up and down an additional section here if you want a bit of very fine adjustment, and then if you want to kind of lock that into position and tighten it, there's a little turning ring on the top of the tripod here. This handle or lever you do a little bit, makes this top head quite loose, and then when you want to tighten it into position you can just turn it clockwise to tighten it. Okay, so there you go. Obviously it goes without saying, when you've finished using stuff like the wireless mics, please remember to turn them off again, so that we can conserve the batteries. They're just standard AA batteries in the transmitter and the receiver for the wireless microphone. So this is the camera kind of on standby, ready to film. You'll see there's that green pause symbol just up in the top corner there. When you press to record, you'll see it turns into a red circle, and there's a counter ticking away now showing the length of the clip. So red circle, you are recording, press the button again and it's gone back to the green pause symbol. Okay. Hopefully the settings for the camera in terms of resolution and those kind of settings, you shouldn't need to play with those, because hopefully they'll be set as they were last time it was used, and they should be fine. We film full HD, full high definition, so that's 1080p. When you first open the door, the screen on the camera, and it comes on, it says HG 1080, it's flashing. And it also briefly gave the capacity, I think the filming capacity on the, oh no, it was the battery capacity. I think it was showing 11 hours there, if that was right. I'll just, I'll open the door again and just see what we get. That's everything that's showing on there. Okay. Just to show you, if you've got the mic receiver plugged into the top of the camera here, you can release it off the camera. There's a shoe adapter release button, but you have to have the screen door open to access it, which you flick down and this just pulls out, it releases it. Okay, so the release button is inside there. Okay. The other thing, if you want to do a quick check of the footage you've been recording, there's the top round button in here switches between its recording mode, ready to do some filming, to a kind of playback mode where it's not ready for filming. And if you press that, then the screen shows you the clips that you've done, except that this memory card is empty at the moment, so it's just showing blank squares. But had you done some filming, you would find the footage there, and all you do is you just press it's a touch screen this, and you just press the clip and it will play it back for you just on the camera if you just want to double check. I mean, that might be helpful to do, particularly if you're using the wireless mic. You might want to just double check that that sounds like it's working all right, although it's only a very tiny speaker on the camera, so you know, you have to strain a bit to hear. But you can tell if it's out if you hear a clear dialogue on there, and then you know that it's recording that. Okay. Okay, well, that's the basics. All the best with your filming attempts, and obviously if you've got any questions then please just get in touch. I'm usually around. Okay, bye for now.